Hey, welcome back to Milton Daily Homes. Chuck here. We have a list of 13 properties today, including the most expensive home listed this year. If you count it as an actual home, I think we've seen one or two plots of land that are listed for more. But anyway, it's a pretty sweet one. It's the last one in the list. If you go over to the Extras tab, go to Bonus Articles, you're going to see this article that we wrote this morning called The Battle of East Milton versus West Milton. Shots are fired in the gang wars. And so I had a great email from friend of the show, Colin Best, local and regional councillor. We've done quite a few flights over Milton, and he's been a wonderful friend to all of us on the team for years. So Colin said, hey, you know what? I know you have an East bias. I'm going to tell you what's good about the West. And so we did a counterpoint thing where we just went back and forth on what's good about the different areas. And so if you divide Milton on Ontario Street between East and West, why would people want to live on one side versus the other? Have a look at the article. I think you'll like it. And let's get started with today's list. So 511 Beaver Court, $499,900. I mean, you can't even buy a townhouse for this kind of price these days. Now you're getting a home that has, I like how they quoted total living space of 2,500 square feet. Deceivingly big because it does not look like 2,500 square feet from the outside of the house. It's not perfect inside, but perfect probably cost you closer to $550, maybe even up to $600. So there is upside here. You can paint these panels and they actually look pretty good. And you've got a nice size yard too. So this one is, I like a lot about it. I think that for it to sell for only this price, I'd be surprised. I think they're going to sell for more. The offer date on that one, let me just check in my other window here, is August 14th is the offer date. So get ready. 859 Gaisley Circle, or Gasley, people call it different things, 549.9. I would have put 550,000. We've talked about double bracketing in many episodes. Anyway, this home here, 1,360 square feet, very popular layout. I find that having the fireplace here, as much as I love fireplaces, I find it actually cuts down on the usable space and the wall that you can use, and it changes the way that you have to choose furniture and everything else. It looks very clean, well kept, tidy, and the finished basement looks good too. Huge window here. I bet if you turned off every light that you could see very, very clearly in this basement. Now, you can see that from the back where the windows are, the one thing that usually means is the house is higher up, which means it actually overlooks the fence and it's a little bit less private on the main floor. So there's sometimes a trade-off that happens depending on what happens in the land behind, where you get this beautiful, nice, bright basement, but oftentimes this floor, it feels a little fishbowl-y. Now, there's things you can do in the backyard to make that better. You can plant cedars and trees and all kinds of things. So, but they priced it really well. I think there's certainly potential here, the same as Beaver, to go for more than asking. Now, last week we had a home in Old Milton where I mentioned that if you improve the home too much, you actually eliminate some of your target audience, because the builders and the people that want to buy for land value are not necessarily interested in paying you an extra $50,000 or $100,000 for your upgrades and for your fancy house. So and then at that point you're limiting yourself potentially to end users, which is people who want to buy the home for their own use, and then maybe down the road the land is worth something that they eventually sell it. I don't know. I mean, this one I think would really, I think the big telltale on this one is going to be how it shows in person. It's not holding back on offers. So if it does happen to sell for more than asking, it would happen through more of an organic process where it's just everyone jumps on it at the same time. There's huge demand to live here, but for a bungalow, this is still towards the high side of fair. The double garage definitely helps their case. That's a big thing. It's nice to have a double car garage with any of these homes. Now, Bowring's kind of interesting. If you remember, they listed, I think, August 5th. They were holding back on offers. They were at $639,000, which I thought was a very competitive price, especially you've got higher ceilings, granite countertops. about 1,900 square feet. I mean, we have seen many single garages in the last 90 days even sell for more than $700,000. Not really much bigger than this one. And here's the thing. So they listed at this price. I believe they're taking offers anytime, but they said in the broker's comments, which you can't see, we can see. That's often how we know about the offer dates. They said, make sure your buyer provides proof of financing. So I can guarantee that what happened was they had an offer, it was conditional on financing, and it fell apart. And now there's a lot of disappointment there because you lose momentum. You never have as much momentum if you try and sell again as you did in that first time when it's brand new. So anyway, this one could, I think at this price, I've seen some stuff that I have not been impressed with that has been listed for a lot more than this, with siding, everything else, and I think this is a good price for this home. The roof, you can tell, is original, so that's going to need some addressing probably, if not now. I haven't seen the home in person. I would say in the next couple of years. And it's a really nice street hockey street. Bowring Crescent, very, very private. One of my favorites in Beatty. Now, if you can get past the honey stop the car, just horridness in the description on Whaley Way, it's a pretty good deal. I'm not going to talk about it today, but just have a look. Rolfe Terrace is a great street. I really, really like how there's a park basically right in the middle of the street. It creates a nice community feeling. The other thing that's unique about this one is you have a walkout basement. Even though it's unfinished, you've got the door down below here. I don't know how much of this deck would kind of block that door, but you've got those nice windows there backing onto green space, and that might even be the park. I didn't check on the map, but the other thing with this one is that if you read this description, Burke, Booth, double front, like, it's, the funny thing is, if you count these characters, they actually had some extra space to put stuff, but I think when you talk about a description for a listing, we've always believed that what you do is you concentrate on 2 or 3 of the best features of the home. You don't need to talk about, pot lights and granite counters, although sometimes it's good to mention that. But I think what's more important is that how did people live in the home? Because people buy the story, not just the house. And that's a huge part of how we believe you market a home. And if you look at some of the stuff we've done, if you go to the extras tab and then you look at our featured properties and you click through them, you start to see that there's a story that exists for a lot of these properties. So anyway, that's the deal with this one. I really like it. I like where the price is at, and this might even get pick of the day if we get rid of the $4 million one, which is clearly better than any of these homes, but it's $4 million. Let's get to that one. But before we do, 787 Bessie Trail. This is a 3,000 square foot home. It's called a Vanderwood model. It's on a 46-foot lot. At the time, they shrunk the 56s to 46. Well, I guess they've always had 46, but this was the largest home that existed on 46. Now you're lucky if you can find 40 or 43-foot lots. So this is actually one of the wider lots that you can find in town now. It's got some nice finishes. I can't tell from the pictures if it's an 8-foot or a 9-foot ceiling. I think it's 8, but I don't want to say anything for sure. I don't see anything in the description. Kitchen looks nice, although that reddish cherry color can sometimes be a tough sell for some buyers. The master, these are the things that you see when you've been in this home for a long time. First of all, the master closet, the walk-in closet is huge. It's almost the size of some bedrooms we see, but there's no good place to put a bed in this room. You've got a closet door here, you've got a window, you've got a door, and you've got a door right here. So the only thing you can do is block the window with your bed, or you stick it in the back corner. That, to me, has always been a design flaw of this home. Even if they didn't do the center window and they had 2 windows there and there, this would automatically be the choice for where the bed should be. I don't understand it. They don't make this home anymore, but from the day I saw the floor plans, I thought that's not going to work. Most people, when they see floor plans, are not wired to understand them in the sense that they don't really map things out. And so they just said, oh, great, it's a whatever feet by whatever feet bedroom, but you have to look at how things are going to lay out. Big ensuite. The rooms are large. That's the front room right there. And then you have a little loft upstairs too. So it's kind of a nice little place to like video games or maybe homework or something like that. Stone and stucco elevation. I still feel like, it does say 9-foot ceilings in the description. So there you go. There's the answer. I didn't see that when I looked at it before. I still feel like for 3,000 square feet at almost $1 million, I would expect something else. I would expect, backing onto something. I would expect a finished basement, a pool, just something beyond what we're seeing in the listing. Maybe when you go in person, it creates a really strong impression. But I thought my first impression of this one was the price seemed a little bit high compared to what else has been selling. So here you go, $4 million and 15th Side Road, Guelph and 15th, which means you're right in the Brookville School District. Very, very well-regarded school district. All those things that people desire, small class sizes, good reputation, everything. It's kind of the idyllic version of what people consider public school to be. So, bungalow with a loft, nice high ceilings here, 22 feet it looks like. Nanny suite, 5 bedrooms, 6 washrooms. When you get to this price point, you start to, I even like these kind of mission style doors. I've got them in my house too in the basement. It's about 2 acres. You can't really convey the messaging of something like this. You'll never be able to present this as well online with 20 pictures and 400 and something characters in a description. But if you look at the description here, they've done a good job. And these agents sell a lot of big properties, but they get to the point in the sense that there's some beneficial things that they know that their target audience would really want. I can't even say if it's worth $4 million or not, because you have to go see this stuff in person to really appreciate it. It's pretty impressive though. So there we go. That's the list. If you have any questions, or if you want to chime in on the battle of East versus West, I'd love to give you a shout out in an episode later this week and just say, hey, you know what? You live over, or so whatever person's name lives on the East End, and they pointed out this. I'd love to do some of that stuff. So East Side, West Side, worldwide. That's Milton Daily Homes. Have a great day.
East Coast, West Coast, and worldwide. East Coast, West Coast, and worldwide.